Hey guys, welcome to the first video tutorial that I have ever done. So buckle up and let's have a good time with this. So what we're going to be looking at today is making a somewhat similar voiceover sound to the Dr. Samuel Hayden voiceover from the 2016 Doom game. I thought it was a really cool voiceover, and I think that if you're watching this video, you obviously agree, because we're going to try and replicate it together. So I hate tutorials that don't get right to the point, so I'm just going to pull up all of the effects on my main channel so that you can take a look at those. So you can screenshot it if you want. What we're going to be doing is just a standard EQ. We're going to play around with it. Looks kind of funky in here, but I'll explain why in a minute. A little compressor there. Okay. These waves, one knobs, I will talk about those in a bit. They're pretty great. And then some reverbs, but not standard big hall reverb. We will just talk about that in a bit. So this is the standard track thing that I came up with this afternoon, which is just kind of, definitely a step in the right direction. I don't at all think that it's perfect, and yeah, you guys can decide how close or far away I was. It won't hurt my feelings. This was really quick, and I think it might benefit you guys if you want to just make a crazy robot voice and at least have like a place to start. So first thing that we're going to do is just talk about EQ a little bit. So over here, I just did a standard, cut the really highs, cut the really lows, let it kind of live where the voice does. This little bump here is just to give it some of that warmth in like the lower area of the vocal range, at least for me. I find that every mic, at least unless you're running a really fancy mic that is literally perfect, I find mics sometimes have this boxy kind of quality to it, sometimes in the mid range here. So I found for me, I just brought it down a little bit because it was a little boxy. This right here, I'm going to talk about in a bit along with this. These two are for effect. I wouldn't typically do that in a standard mix unless there was something really wrong. Okay, now getting into the really what kind of makes the voice. So in this character, he's got a bunch of different pitches going on all kind of at the same time. And Waves came out with a plugin a long time ago called Ultra Pitch 6, and basically you can mix your own voice straight track with a bunch of other pitches. So it'll pitch your voice at different pitches. Yeah. So here I have a fourth, down a fourth, third, sixth, minor second down, and a major sixth down. So it's kind of all over the map. So this you can just kind of play with. If you have this program, you can do exactly this. You could just kind of throw those dots around and find out oh, okay, I kind of want it to be low here and maybe a little high here. You just kind of play around with it until, it works for you. Every voice is going to be different. I already have a relatively low voice, so I didn't have to pitch it quite as much as maybe somebody with a higher voice than mine, but, just use it at your own discretion. It'll take you into the subwoofer if you let it. So don't worry, you can just make it work for your voice. So I just kind of threw it all over the map with some different variants of pitch and the formants, so it has a different kind of quality to the pitches and gives it kind of that split vocal electronic artificial intelligence robot kind of sound. So yeah, we can come back to that when I actually show you guys the track. So I'm actually going to record the track, by the way, and then we're going to work with that so you can see what I'm starting with and how I voice act it and stuff. So moving from there, the standard stuff that aren't really effects are just the EQ, the compressor, or no, this is the gate, sorry. This is just a standard gate. that Waves provides with a classic voiceover. I didn't actually even change it because I was just like, well, it's good. You can mess around with this if you want it to cut off more breaths than not. But honestly, if you want to cut out breaths and any extra noise and stuff, go in after the fact, after you record whatever you're recording, and cut out all the dead space in between that you want to be silent. It might sound a little choppy, but if you want it to be really clean, when you put music or sound effects underneath that, like if you're doing a short film or something, you won't even really notice. So just spend that extra time to clean up your track so that you don't have extra noise, like you got a fan in the background, or you don't want your character to breathe, you just want the voice and stuff. So you just take the time after and cut that out. Anyways, that was way too long of a tangent. My compressor is just a standard voiceover compressor for me, so I set it at minus 16.3 and ratio of 3.89 and whatever, just to balance where like the soft part of my voice was and also where the loud part of my voice was. So this just keeps everything balanced in the mix there. You can get all up in my business about what order I'm putting things in, but it worked for me for right now. So also I'm a big fan of these Waves one knob things. So I don't really love to spend a whole bunch of time with a bunch of buttons and dials and ratios and, everything like that. So I just like, if I want it to be louder, I'll just turn it up, but it keeps it from clipping, because it's also like does its own compressing and stuff, which is great. So yeah, this is basically just slamming compression, and this is just a little bit of brightness that I thought that the track needed. Now we're going to get into the actual part that is most I think important for giving that really mechanical sound, like that sound like he's got like a tube, like a metal tube in his throat, and that's like, it sounds really ominous and tubular, if you will. So these reverbs that I'm using are just built into Cubase, but you can do this with pretty much any reverb. Basically, I just did a really small size room on both of them, relatively small size. This one just had a different sound, so I thought I could add a little bit to it, but a little bit of pre-delay and mix to touch. But it's what separates, and it's what separates the standard voice, like what you're hearing now, from like this tube kind of sound. I'll get into it in a minute when we do the recording. So anyways, that is most of that. I also have some like an effects channel with a bunch of like random crap on it, but that's honestly, like I might go into this, but it's not really super noticeable. But like just this standard track is going to be a good start. So I'm going to quickly record the line. It's the first line that you hear from him in the game. And excuse me. All right. See if I can remember the line. Even if I don't, it doesn't really matter. Welcome. I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both. All right, so that was like kind of, low and grumbly and whatever. Yeah, so I will say that if you're recording this kind of thing, the inflection and how you record the voice is going to play a huge part in the way that these effects play with the voice. So just having all the presets and stuff is not instantly going to make you sound like this character. You still have to act, in that vein. Do they take lots of breaths between their phrases? Do they talk like this? Or are they like, I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden and I work at the research facility? So it's like you really kind of put on your acting cap and see what you can come up with. So with those effects, I'm actually just going to mute these effects tracks so you guys can hear exactly what it sounds like with just those tracks that I applied. So hopefully this doesn't sound the worst.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
Okay, so it's ominous and tube-like and whatnot. So let's just take a gander back over to the EQ, and I'll show you why I did this. These two things here that I was mentioning earlier in the video. So if I turn off 4 and 5, this is maybe a little bit more of a standard flat line kind of voice. Actually, I'll take these reverbs off too, and you'll notice that the tube sound goes away, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I found that it was actually too deep initially, so I cut it with 4, and then added a little bit of that, that radio kind of bite with 5 up in the mid range here. So
I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
Okay, so that's, maybe you like that more. It's all personal taste, but I think that it was like a little bit low compared to the original. I think the original didn't quite have so much like thick bass to it. So I cut a little bit there, and then I added some here. So
I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem.
So you see how it kind of adds a little bit more bite into the mid-range and takes a little bit out of the low sub and makes it a little bit more robotic, I guess. Oh man, I've been talking a lot today. Okay, so diving into reverb, let's take a look at just like the first reverb that I added to it. It's just like really small, little pre-delay, just to add a little bit of that echo tube sound.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
Yeah, see, like that's kind of cool. Like if turning it off and on, it's like one goes from very human to suddenly, oh, this is a robot that we're talking to.
We can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
So, there's that, and I'll actually also isolate the second reverb so that you can see kind of the different color of the reverb that I was going for with this one. So
I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem.
So this one has a little bit more of that like wispy sound to it. I felt it was still a little dry with just the one reverb. So I added this one to make it, have kind of double the effect while also giving it a little bit of that wisp. So let's listen to them together.
I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
See, like, I think that's a pretty good place to start. Yeah, let me know down below if you like it, you hate it. I don't really know. Maybe like, it's just it's a starting point for an ominous robot sound. I'm not sure what else to tell you, but I hope you found that helpful. If you were curious about this sends, this is what it sounds like with a like you can see right here, I barely have it mixing into the mix at all, but I added some actually I'll pull this up. I just compressed it a little bit with the one knob pressure knob. I added a flanger, a transformer, just some weird stuff. I added a little bit of like wet reverb to it, but I actually found that it was a little too wet, and then I added, but I'll show you how I kind of dealt with that. But I added actually quite a strong delay after all this, so it kind of gets like warbly and wet and kind of messy. But then I actually added a pretty sharp gate. So it kind of, when I'm talking and this effects channel is running, it's allowing the background of when I'm talking to be messy. But then as soon as I am done talking, then the gate kind of cuts off the extra effects right at the end. So it keeps it kind of contained to just when I'm talking. And I actually also high passed and low passed, high cut, just played with it kind of with the color of the sound. So anyways, this is what it sounds like with the effects end.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think that we can work together to resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
Yeah, see, like there's still like a little bit, hanging around there at the end, but it's not exactly a finished product. This was just a fun little idea and a place for you guys to start. So, anyways, that is that, and I hope you guys enjoyed that little tutorial on making a crazy robot voice. So, go out there and make something cool. And maybe see you in the next video if I make one or whatever. All right. Peace.